Welcome to Echoes and Roots. I'm Sabine, and I guide you back to nature, to your inner wisdom, and our ancestral ways of living in harmony with Mother Earth and the cosmos. Welcome, everybody, to this 2026 themes and energetic forecast. I'm going to weave into this session today a little bit also the themes of 2025 and going forward into the coming years, because we are always working with bigger cycles of energies and bigger cycles of growth that we are going through. Now, I invite you to take time also to finish 2025 and to really have a moment of introspection of what happened in 2025. And when I look back at what I predicted for 2025, it was like the world is going to turn upside down. And I think it did for some people, and we're going to have a lot of revelations, a lot of truth coming out, disclosure, but also a lot of very erratic energy and a lot of chaos and chaotic energy. And we still have that, and I'm going to explain to you a little bit how we can deal with this in 2026 and going forward. And one of my recommendations for 2025 was to really start building your inner foundation in the sense of that peace within and that peace within your closer circle, so your family, your friends, your home, so that you can go through these years, through this time in a very let's say like mindful way, and really in a way that you have created this foundation, or you are creating this foundation that allows you to also deal with the intense energies that are being present in the collective, because they continue to be present. And it is really from the readings I've already done. So I've done already some personal readings for 2026, and you can book also a personal reading with me throughout now December and January, where I really look into your own themes, guidance for you, how you can best navigate the next year. And the link is in the show notes. But through these personal readings, I already tapped into that, this core inner foundation. You know, it's just become more and more important in the coming years. And when we look at this period now, as we are closing out, it's also being a collective year 9 from numerology. And the collective energy also has an impact always on us. And it's been quite a strong impact that year 9. So also see how you can, even though you have a personal different year and personal themes, how you can still acknowledge that energy and try to really see, where can I close chapters? Where can I clean out old belief systems, habits that do not serve me? Even letting go of people. And it's like inner work, you know, letting go of inner beliefs, but also like looking at, okay, what are the connections that just do not serve me, do not fit into where I'm going to go moving forward. And in terms of time, so we are bound by the Gregorian calendar, as this is the system that's globally most present here. But there's a more natural way to connect to these cycles, because we are actually energetically really connected to Mother Earth, and she has her own seasonal cycles. So it really depends where you are living also, and what season it is, and what you see in nature kind of defines how you are meant to kind of close out this chapter and close of the year. Because from a date perspective, the 2026 energy is not going to come in on the 1st of January, because energetically Mother Earth is still closing out the year going into mid-February. So on an energetic level, right now in the northern hemisphere, we have the winter season, which is connected to the water element. And the water element is the element that we are actually born out of. So it's the birth, the beginning, but also the element that where death occurs. So we are right now in this element. Literally, winter is really calm and introspective. That's why it's nice to actually really, when you're in the northern hemisphere specifically, go back, look back at each month and what have I learned, what were the people, being with gratitude, right? Also for what the lessons we had, what happened to us. So we often come from this standpoint of a little bit, I want more, I need to have more goals, like I need to manifest this and this. But no, it's much more about having trust in life, and from a very reflective point, looking at what is life bringing into our path, and then seeing where can we have gratitude, where we also just need to process things. So doing that now in the winter time, and then knowing that like the real energy of the new momentum, the real energy of the new year is gonna more come into towards end of January, mid-February. And actually that's also the time to really feel into the projects you want to do for the new year, and kind of like plans you're having, or maybe even goals. Now, I mean, we all do New Year's resolutions, but actually we are not energetically supported now to fulfill them. That's why we always struggle and we always fall short already first week after New Year, right? We are not following up on our New Year's resolutions because we are simply within us. The energy that is on Mother Earth present in the seasons and nature is also the energy that moves through us. So right now in the Northern Hemisphere, we are in winter energy. And winter energy is like, no project, staying calm, introspective, resting. So there is no momentum for us to start new things, even to have the idea of new goals that are really suiting, really natural, that would go with kind of the natural rhythm of our life. So just wait with that. Wait with that until, it's coming to you, and it's most likely gonna more come in end January, beginning February. And then it's the time to make plans. Now you can very just safely just wrap up the year, really think about, okay, it was collective year 9, what have I ended, what am I not going to carry forward, what have I learned new. And then if you're in the southern hemisphere, you are now at the most young time, it's like summer solstice. For us it's going to be winter solstice, and also there it's actually in the middle of the year, so it's kind of even like it's kind of even more difficult to kind of say like the year is ending now, because energetically it's not really what's present around you. And but what you can look at if you are in the southern hemisphere is to kind of more re-evaluate your goals that you already made maybe earlier this year, because for you it's in the middle of the year energetically, and it is summer, so you have quite some momentum, you have some creativity, you have some ideas. So it's more about, okay, I reevaluate, what do I really still want to do, what do I feel like. So it's very different than here in the northern hemisphere. And I do know I have listeners from all across the globe, and I do want to really take this into consideration also, just give you a bit of a flavor of, to really, you can live back again closer with Mother Nature. And yes, we have the Gregorian calendar, but we do not have to follow, all of these traditions that we build up, especially if they don't serve us, So summer, like, New Year's party in the southern hemisphere could be really fun, because it's like, it's also summer solstice, it's like, wow, big energy, and for us it's much more New Year's party, I think, Of course, you can also have fun at big parties with it, but it's much with this energy of like, okay, reflection, turning inwards, ending things slowly, you know, and kind of more rest, like really allow yourself. January, we still have winter energy and northern hemisphere, and so that is the moment where we can recharge our resources. So allow yourself the time, you know, push the projects out into February, March. And I know sometimes when you work in corporate, that's very hard because it's going so much against the natural cycle. But for your private life, right? Like you don't have to run to the gym on 2nd January or, you know, whatever private goals you have. Like you can have that. You can be like, oh, January, you know what? I'm still resting. Mother Nature is sleeping out there. You know, she's sleeping, so I should be sleeping too. You know, I can just watch nice rom-coms or whatever, you know, and or read a book, you know, do something creative. That's one of the big themes of 2026. But, you know, just resting and yeah, so allow yourself to go with these rhythms. And I was thinking back, you know, when we were seated here on Earth, we came down as these 12 tribes, you know, and we lived at very specific areas connected to the energetic body, the stargates, Mother Earth's big acupuncture points, and we would guard the land and stuff. And yes, we would all be human. We actually would have the same language. It's not like nowadays, unfortunately, we are also so disconnected because we have different languages and we don't understand each other anymore. But back then we had the same language, Christic language, and really connecting us also to the sounds, the true sounds of God and Anuhasi, really beautiful language. But, you know, but we still had, even though we're all humans and with our values, you know, and the same language, similar things, but we still had, because we were living in different places of the earth and different pockets of land, we had those flavors of the land. And we would really have our own customs as well and our own celebrations connected to like whether the seasons in that particular part of the earth and the nature there. So it's a bit like now we're spread all over the world and we have a bit this one thing across the world which we should follow, you know, but it's not really like that. It's also about the land you live on. And now I want to start looking into 2026, the big themes that are coming up. And this is actually the second recording that I'm doing of this. I've done a very beautiful, long 2026 readings with the trees. And the audio did not record. And so I realized this ought to be one of the additional themes for 2026, and this is to not let yourself be silenced. To not let ourselves be silenced. It's been already for me personally a big theme for 2025 to really allow myself to speak my truth and to voice my opinion. And I'm working a lot with the throat chakra personally, with like music and singing and just, you know, things that help me with my throat chakra. But I feel that there is so much, you know, there's going to be a lot of nonsense being said in 2026. There's going to be a lot of noise. So that's the other extreme. We really going to see these extremes of there's going to be a lot of information, a lot of noise out there, a lot of blah 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 that is not truth. But then there is also truth coming from the heart and coming from the soul. And I think that truth shall not be repressed, and especially not in all the noise that's gonna be out there. So remember, you know, don't let yourself be silenced, but also do not just listen to any noise out there because there's going to be a lot of it in 2026. So I've in order to do this intuitive readings, I connected to trees. I love to talk to trees, and I physically went to trees because that's another big theme for 2026, our physical interaction with the world. But I physically went to the trees, and I would have loved to actually do the full podcast just from sitting next to the trees, but it's a bit too cold here for that. So I've done it kind of in spirit, and now I'm going back into what I've seen, and maybe it's also better because I get a lot of images, so I did at times close my eyes, and so now I can be your full attention on you if you watch this on YouTube, to bring you back the themes that I saw. So starting with one of the first scenes that came up in the 2026 reading was a very interesting scene. I think you most likely know Snow White, that fairy tale, and in Snow White we have the dark she's queen, right? The dark queen, the stepmother. And the last time she visits Snow White, she brings the poisoned apple. And the poisoned apple is a big theme for 2026. So pay attention to something around apple. I don't know if it has to do with the company, if it has to do with that scene, Adam, Eve, with maybe things that we're going to be told that are actually not true about our origin. Could be, because that's going back into the scene Adam and Eve, right? The fall of sin, in a way. The Bible. So pay attention to anything that relates to the apple, because the apple is poisoned. So right, when you remember the scene of Snow White, like the dark stepmother eats from the side that is now poisoned, and then Snow White believes it is safe and she eats it. And that is exactly, so one of the other words that came up in that reading was snake oil. So we're going to be presented with information, people, technology that's being presented to us as the golden apple, the solution. Very shiny. It's going to be something very shiny. But it is fake. It is not true. It's poisoned. And we have to put our discernment out there to recognize it. So really tuning into 2026, what is truth and what is not. We're gonna have, I also saw these fake kings, or someone presenting themselves as a king with this shiny something. It's gonna be about shiny things, to new technology, shiny solutions to problems we actually don't have, but that are gonna be told. We're gonna be told we have those problems. Something shiny. So there's that king that I saw, he has like this really golden shiny robe on, but he's all fake. It's all fake. So we're gonna have these fake messiahs, fake new leaders, maybe some sort of new religion or some sort of technology, AI tool that's presented to us as God. Who knows? Something like that seems to be good, seems to be trustworthy. Remember the apple. But it's not, it's poisoned, it's fake. So, really important, discernment is really important in 2026, and there's gonna be a lot of, as I said, noise, like this balance between not having ourselves silenced, but at the same time recognizing there's a lot of noise out there that is unnecessary information and untrue information. So what I also saw was this image, our mind being plugged in everywhere, our brain being plugged in, intense amount of mind control going on. In 2026, there's going to be so much going to be thrown at us in terms of information. And 2026 is the year, and in all of the following years, where you're really going to be invited to master unplugging from the noise out there. the mind control, the intense information that we are bombarded with, and plugging back into your natural intelligence, the intelligence of your body, of your soul. So the body, I'm going to come to this, is going to be another big theme, because that's how we're going to transmute all these energies of 2026. Is kind of pretty intense energy. So when I look at what's happening in the field, so when I look at just our body, so the mental body is going to have, similar to 2025, but even on a higher octave, very dissonant energies, because we're going to be bombarded so much with information and so much in the collective of like this and that and here, oh my god, all these problems, and here's the solution. As I said, snake oil. Snake oil, not don't trust, just don't believe anyone who's presenting themselves as the Messiah, King, whatever. But the mental body is really going to be fried in a little way, and then that's going to spill over in the emotional body. And what's going to happen is that in the end of the day, all this mental overload is supposed to stimulate intense emotional reactions. And this is where we're going to get back into the body and transmute this. And literally, there is going to come up some things, but there is another theme which I love. It's like dance through life next year, because you're going to move the body and you're going to work with your own body, and you're really going to develop a very intimate relationship to your own body, to move through these energies and to come back into this point of stillness, into your inner knowing. Because then from that point you can discern, you can disconnect from the mental overload, from the voices in the head. You can also just have emotions flow through you without having to react up on them, right? Because this is where we often get into some intense situation, is like we have all these mental voices, they create emotions, and then we react up on that. But we are here to literally just have this flow through us, and then move it out from the body and come back into this point of equilibrium, into this point of stillness, and this point of just like really inner, resting in yourself. This is what we already started to cultivate in 2025, like this inner peace, the tools in a way to bring us back, regulate the nervous system, bring us back to that inner point of peace. So we're going to continue be challenged to do that. There's going to be trigger points in 2026 around security and fears. So we're going to see themes playing out in the collective around danger, or just like emotion around war, immigration, resources, money, like shortage of things. So we're gonna be triggered in the programming and the fears we hold around these topics. And again, there is like really important that you navigate to step out of the mind, stepping away from this really intense mental body field, and then just allowing your emotions to move through, because we have within us, we have these traumas, right? We have like, there is reasons why we are triggered in our sense of security. And there's maybe memories we're going to regain why we do not feeling safe enough on here on the planet. But this is going to play out, and this is going to invite us to really address these situations and these, let's say, these inner fears and the inner demons around these subjects, to really be able to stand in neutrality about whatever is unfolding in the collective in regards to that, and whatever like big headlines are going to be thrown at you in regards to these topics, right? Like war, immigration, whatever, to really stand in neutrality, to these themes, and to just know if it's triggering you, it's because we have some fears around security within us. And then this come back to the question, how can we create security within us? And one of the things that's also going to help us in that was another film that came out for 2026, is the inner child. Now, and yeah, one way, of course, we often look at the inner child in terms of healing, and we're gonna be triggered, right, with the themes like the fears are gonna come up around security in 2026. And around like what's leadership, and can we trust anyone really? And because, you know, we're going to continue having disclosure, but then again also we're going to continue, because of we have disclosure happening right now, we have a ton of misinformation and false information trying to defer from the real disclosure. So as we are going to be like trying to navigate all of that, what wants to come out and help us a bit with that is the inner child, and not just from a place of healing, but more from a place of coming back to what do we enjoy in life? You know, who are we truly deep down? Like, you know, what is like when we were young, you know, who are we? What's our creativity? Because 2026 on a collective level is gonna have a very masculine energy. It's like really, you know, people like marching, like, I want this is my rights, I don't like this, like really masculine, really just like kind of pretty aggressive at times. And to counterbalance that, we are here to really lean into the feminine in 2026 and to cultivate this. So you can, as I said, these are years where we are learning to detach from the collective timelines and from the collective madness, because we do live in collective madness right now, and kind of creating this own flow, this own dance of life for us. And really, you leaning into the feminine is a big theme for 2026 to help us with that. So we balance that intense masculine, that strict, that energy out there, you know. And one of the ways of like leaning into the feminine is that connection to that inner child, that where is the joy, where is the fun, where is the, you know, what the inner child wants to, how does the inner child wants to create and express itself. That's what I'm saying here, this whole chakra. How do we want to express ourselves organically? And, you know, we're gonna be presented with many choices around technology. And how much technology do we want to integrate in our lives and into also the physical body? And there are going to be people who are going to choose for a very organic timeline, and who are going to be coming together also in 2026 in the physical, you know, and really enjoying like together, being in nature, you know, being like making music together, connecting heart to heart. Like I was seeing these scenes, you know, for instance, when we drink cacao, and even together, because cacao really opens the heart, and this is like, you know, opening the heart, having these heart-to-heart connections is something that's also really in the field of 2026. And when we are doing this, and then we're coming together in a very organic way and engaging with Mother Earth, nature in an organic way, and bringing out, you know, this creative little inner child and our own, like that's what I'm saying, our own voice, you know, not altered, not filtered through AI, no, our own. What is our own? Because that holds so much authenticity, but also just there's so much healing in our own voice. And we're going to cultivate these connections in 2026, because another big theme was around intimacy. And I'm not talking here about physical intimacy necessarily. Of course, it can be part of it, but I'm more talking about intimacy to yourself, in the sense of like really establishing this close connection to who am I deep down, right? Who is that inner child? Who are the dreams? And how does it express itself? How does it want to just like flow through life? And also this intimacy to our emotions, right? When we get triggered in 2026 by these big collective themes, by the mind boom, the brain sucking kind of machinery that wants to put all kind of ideas into our head. So how do we connect, how do we establish a true deep intimacy to our own body and to our own thoughts and the emotions, that we can really become very aware of them? You know, and it's so funny, the word that came to my mind is master, but I don't want to use these words. Like also in the first recording, I had this word coming around the body, around like optimization. I was like, no, that's not the word I want to use, because we are not here in 2026 to be in a very masculine way, to want to be perfect and just, you know, want to just like rush through life. No, we want to be in a feminine way in 2026. So we want to approach our emotions, how we're going to deal with like being triggered in our fears around security, in a very nurturing way, in a very loving way. And the same as with the body. A lot of people will be able to experience a lot of just connection and pleasure through the body in 2026 by really connecting to what does my body need, how does my body wants to move, but again in a very feminine way, you know, not in a way of I have to optimize this body. And this is a bit more the technology, the AI way, right? I need to optimize this thing and now I'm going to take technology to do it. No, I'm talking about the more organic, the natural way of just being, listening to what does this body need, you know, listening to what does this body tell me, because we are, through our physical body, we are so connected to Mother Earth. You know, it is like a tree stands so strong, so tall with its trunk, and then really roots down into Mother Earth. We are with our physical body then rooting deep down into Mother Earth, and we are walking with her, and we are in constant energetic exchange with her. And so the body, our body, holds so much wisdom. It's like it's the most advanced technology. The organic body is the most advanced technology that is on this planet. So we're gonna plug back a bit into that, as well as there's also gonna be the time limit of the people who really gonna plug into the technology, the AI, the virtual reality. Yeah. So I'm seeing also people, they are gonna be with VR sets, and they're gonna totally go into the world of virtual reality, and that's gonna be their world, you know. And then maybe their reality, their real physical world is then kind of boring or is not fulfilling. Then they go to the job and don't like it. But there's going to be many people who are going to decide, no, you know what, this physical world, I'm going to really create the physical world in a way that I'm really going to enjoy every single day. Many small things throughout the day. Now, of course, not every single day is amazing, but you know, we are here, believed to experience the physical. So there is this whole also coming together in person in 2026, and in person sharing with each other our creativity. And I'm seeing these scenes of people, you know, just gathering around nature, and there's someone playing the guitar, and just enjoying these moments, this true connection, heart to heart and energy to energy. So that is also in the field for 2026, and you will see this splitting of kind of the artificial, the organic timeline. It's gonna continue. It's gonna get bigger because people gonna decide pretty much on a bit different trajectory that they want to go on. And there are some people who will really go for the shiny snake oil, whatever it's gonna be, like new religion, some sort of messiah, new technology, and there's gonna be a lot of followers of that. And there's gonna people who totally unplug from that. And it's just in the end of the day, you know, yeah, what do we want? What does our soul want? Where is our soul most alive? You know, and for some people, their soul isn't very alive. So, yeah, but for those who feel the spark, who feel the spark every single day, they are, yeah, they're gonna kind of, you know, more, a lot of learn to dance through life, and to also, there is a level of kind of also making peace or acceptance of what is, what we are seeing, that we might not be, you know, that we might have very different trajectories of where people are going to go. And but it's also about, you know, as I said, there are the collective timelines, and there's a personal timeline, and there is what you wanted to experience, what you resonate with in the end of the day. And that's really important to cultivate in 2026, is what am I resonating with, you know, where, how do I want to develop, and where do I want to develop into what kind of timelines. And yeah, creativity, I think I said it already. There is a lot of also this, as it's a very, we can tap into this very feminine energy. We could tap into this very masculine energy in 2026 as well, because that's also in the collective, but we can also tap into this very feminine energy. And of course, finding a balance with the two as well. But, you know, in this more feminine, more playful energy, there is like this whole creative theme, and this is about, you know, intimacy, building intimacy with your body, with your emotions, with yourself, is also about like building intimacy to your own creativity. And so I see people tapping more into that. And it's not New Year's yet. Sorry, it was fireworks outside, but tapping more into that, and tapping into like how does my soul want to express, because us doing things with our hands, and as I said, like even movement, you know, dancing, so many things, singing, you know, using this body as the absolutely incredible technology and vessel it is, we're gonna see more of that as well with people. So yeah, as a wrap up, as a little reminder of what are the big themes for 2026. As I said, watch out for the poisoned apple, the snake oil, the many lies and deceptions that gonna come out in 2026. Watch out for the intense amount of information that's gonna be plastered at you, the ways how your mind is literally gonna overflow, like being controlled, but also just overflowing with information. See how you can unplug, really unplug at times, coming back to yourself, to center, to nature, just inner calm, equilibrium. See that. Look how you can deal with the fears that are gonna be around security, you know, really deep-seated fears are gonna be triggered in the next couple of years. So how can you address that? You know, how can you move through these emotions? Valuing the human-to-human connection, you know, like coming together with others, enjoying this really passionate energy, this creative energy, this energy of like heart-and-heart connections, intimacy, and also conversations, you know, with emotions, like this really yeah, it's like it's a really nice, it's feminine energy, you know. How can you tune into that, and how can you especially take it along on your own creative journey and with your body? So how can you shake yourself, get your playlist ready for 2026, because you will need it. You will need a good playlist with good uplifting songs. because it is the kind of year where we just gonna sometimes need to let the steam out, dance through life, get back into this inner child joy, you know, just connect back to that, and just move also knowing it's not always all serious, you know. Of course, like, we're going through some a little bit mad times, you know. But you know, life isn't always serious. Life can also just be sometimes fun and easy, and bringing that back, because it's so important, you know. We cannot still be misery. So, and especially with, you know, there's going to be also like a lot of disclosure, revelations, and it's going to be like, oh my god, you know, what's really going on here on the planet. But that's why it's important to sometimes find back that joy, and that just simply connecting with others, and connecting with your friends, your family, you know, the day-to-day moments that are important in life, the human to human, heart to heart connection. Now, as I said, you can get your personal 2026 reading of your personal themes. Link is in bio. The next live course I'm running is on Whale medicine, healing with whales, learning from whales, connecting to them as our guides, as these really wise beings that protect the oceans, and that sing so beautiful songs since generations and generations for us to remember. How can we protect life? Who are we? And it's going to be also a course. I really feel that course is really at the shift from, so we're going to start beginning February, and then it's going to be the shift from the water element, from the real end of this year, into the spring, into the wood element. And so I feel there's also going to be a lot of just creativity created in this course. You're going to do some sound healing, you're hopefully going to do some singing. Yeah, I shall be brave enough to do that. And and I just hope that for everyone who's going to join, that it's kind of like, it's going to be very healing, because also water element is so healing, and it's full of knowledge, of course, connecting us back to wisdom. But it's also going to be just like this joyful, you know, spark, and this very also nurturing, mothering energy. When I think of mother whales, oh yeah, so yeah, really nice. There is still, if that speaks to you, I still have the Auto Bird Prize running, so there's a link in the show notes. You can sign up for that one. And further than that, I'm not sure yet what I'm gonna do in 2026. I have, of course, some ideas. I do really would like to bring people together in person, because that's a big theme for that year. Also for some, you know, pilgrimages, retreats, something. But I'm kind of also, I just want to go with the energy of the cycle right now, the nature. And right now it's more of like, you know, like closing out the year, resting, and not so much of like planning everything and, you know, knowing everything. It's kind of like, I'm pretty sure that's gonna come in my real course. I'm gonna have tons of ideas or plans what I'm gonna do exactly in 2026. So I kind of just want to go a bit with the flow with that. And I thank you so much for being here. It's been also for me personally a very transformative year, where I just, I moved. So a lot of shedding of belief systems and my own little demons, things like that. So I'm really grateful that if you are still here with me, that you moved with me through this year, through all my own transformations and my own pitfalls, and my journey. It's really, thanks so much, and I'm sure it's going to be a lot of exciting things ahead. It's never getting boring on this channel. So I wish you beautiful holidays, Christmas, if you celebrate Christmas with your family. Remember, this is about, you can already bring some 2026 energy into this. This is about the moments we experience with our loved ones, and the things like sharing food, you know, sharing laughter, sharing music. And then a very good start into the new year, into 2026. So thanks so much, and bye-bye. Follow me on Instagram at Echoes and Roots for grounded spirituality, ancient wisdom, and nature-based living.